Welcome to SoCal Tram. I'm Matt.
And I'm Cesar.
And today, before we get into this bottle, we just want to say if you're new here, hey, thanks for checking it out. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button on your way out. If you're a returning viewer, hey, we appreciate you sticking around. Nonetheless, everybody hit that little bell. That way you know whenever we drop a brand new video. Cesar, what are we reviewing today?
Today, we got something from your bar, my brother.
We do. Today, we have the Highland Park 12 years old single malt Scotch Whisky, otherwise known as Viking Honor.
So, guys, today we got this Viking Pride 12-year-old right here. Sitting at 43% alcohol and is a mix of sherried American and European oak casks. With that being said, this 12-year-old has won quite a few bit of awards, but for the most recent ones in the year 2020 alone, it actually won the gold in the International Spirits Challenge, and then it also won gold in the Scotch Whisky Masters. So those two are actually pretty high-end competitions, and it rated really well because gold is pretty good at me. So without further ado, what do you expect from this, Matt?
So we've reviewed Highland Park 18, right? It's right up here. You can check it out. We both actually really like that one.
Yeah.
I mean, you have some sentimental thoughts to it, absolutely, but
Thank you, baby girl. Love you.
Still, for me, it was a delicious whiskey, and I think that was when you got it about 140, right?
Yep.
Now it's creeped up to like 160. And I mean, I know like the tariffs and things like that, which, by the way, President Biden, please take those off. But I digress. $160 for that. I don't know. But nonetheless, this bottle, routinely about $50 to $60. I got it for $35. So I'm thinking for $35, this is probably a steal. Now, this is not my first time hitting this. I had a little bit of this a few weeks back, and it's interesting to say the least. I'll say that. I'm excited to get into it. I'm excited for you to try it because I know you love the 18. So I'm excited to see what you get off of the 12. Like I've said before, Highland Park has many different offerings. The 12 to 18. They also, I think, have a 16-year-old. They have a couple non-age statements. They have a cask strength that just came out. They got a ton of stuff. And it can get a little bit overwhelming when you're standing in the liquor store staring at the shelf.
Yeah.
I think it's a safe bet to say go 12 or 18, not because they're age stated, but just because those are core range products.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
I cannot tell you which ones are, semi-annual or annual or core range or, this is a one-time for all. You know what I mean? So, nonetheless, I'm excited to get into it again because, again, I was a few whiskeys in when I had it originally. You said ex-American and European oak, but
it's sherry American and sherry American oak and sherry European oak.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll tell you on the nose. You remember when we did the Balvenie toasted oak one? Which again, you can
way back in the day, yeah.
Yeah, no, it was a couple weeks ago. Maybe last week. I don't know. It depends on when it goes up.
In real time, it was 10 minutes ago.
It was 2 reviews ago of the same day. Again, we bad shoot, folks. There's no secret to that. It's like, it's like the first time, you meet a girl and you're like, oh, the magic is gone. Nonetheless. That earthy peat note I was talking about in the finish, I'm getting it on the nose.
So, it's funny? With that one, I never got your peat. Right here, I do.
Yeah, I do get your peat. This, what I was getting on the finish is exactly this on the nose.
This I do get
But
your
I do
peat
get
here.
some fruit. I get a little bit of apricot, like some stone
Stewed
fruit.
Yep, stewed red fruits. So yep. Just like I thought
I
the
said
Baltine.
apricot, and he's like, yeah, stewed red fruits. I'm like, those are two different things. But no, I get what you're getting at. I can get the stewed fruits. 43%?
Yep.
It's not hot, but it's a little sharp for 43.
It is. You
know what I mean?
I think
it's like, for lack of a better word, it's like when you take the cap off and you kind of slice your hand on the foil wrapping. It doesn't hurt, but it lets you know it's there.
Yeah, I think it's 40. It's 43, but to be honest, I think that's the average bite. But I think me and you are so used to like high punch stuff going for lowered that we're like, hey, this is actually pretty punchy. But it's like it's actually average. But
which is weird considering like we do drink the high proof. And we're like, oh, this lower stuff is punchy.
Yeah,
maybe
exactly.
It's not punchy
exactly.
for the proof. Maybe it's just a different flavor profile. Who knows? Like. We never claim to know anything. As Kevin Smith would say, I don't know shit about shit.
Exactly.
So on the palate, fruity, super fruity. That apricot nose definitely translate. I get a little bit of the honey for sure. Still getting some citrus out of it. Definitely getting more than anything out of those bourbon barrels. I'm getting that vanilla. But there's also, interestingly enough, like a waxy walnut like mouthfeel to it. Like when you eat walnuts, you kind of have that waxy aftertaste.
I have a waxy. That. Yeah, I have a waxy mouthfeel for sure.
I thought you said you have a waxy. I'm like, what is that?
It's the alcohol talking. That's what it is. No, I definitely get a waxy mouthfeel to it. And besides the stewed red fruits, I actually get a lot of raisin, like a predominant raisin. But it's good.
But not like regular like raisins. I'm getting like the golden raisins. Like there's a different raisin-y quality to it. People are like, they're raisins. It's like they're actually different if you have them side by side. You put golden raisins in an oatmeal raisin cookie, you're gonna have a bad time. The finish, it almost gets a little ashy.
Yeah.
Like the way like an ashtray, not like your grandfather's ashtray that's been sitting there for 100 years and still has cigarettes from 100 years ago in it. I'm talking like an ashtray where there's maybe a couple of butts in there. Like there's a little bit of an ashy aftertaste. Maybe even not a cigarette ash, but it's more kind of like a pipe tobacco ash. Like it's not unpleasant, but it's not something that I'm necessarily wanting in the finish.
I agree with you. And to be honest, I'm trying to distinguish like what the difference with the 18 and this 12 is, and I think that's the difference. I don't think I get that from the 18, but from this 12 is like
my memory was more rounded off.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was just more mature, had that extra time in the barrel. If I remember correctly, the maturation was pretty similar to this one as far as the barreling type.
Mm-hmm.
But it just was a little bit more rounded off. I don't know if it was that review or a different review, but I think I compared it to like a countertop where like you have like the square ends versus like the bull nose where it's just like nice and like there's some craftsmanship into it. We've been drinking, folks. Backsheet.
There's some craftsmanship. I don't know what it is. There's some craftsmanship.
If you don't figure it out, every fourth review we're a little bit more off. But this one, the 12 is good. At $35, it's awesome. At $50, it's still good, but there's a lot of whiskey out there for $50 that I'd probably reach for first.
No, for sure. Like when he first texted me that he got this bottle, like he texted me a picture of it, and I was like, oh, big whoop, Highland Park 12 year, yeah, it's cool. And then he's like, oh, I got it for $35. I was like, what? I was like, whoa, no, that is something interesting because I have never seen it lower than 50, like ever. So
it's funny when you watch old reviews of something like this because it's been around for forever, right? Mm-hmm. And they're like, yeah, you can get Highland Park for $30, and I'm like, where? And I look at the time that they put it out, it's like 2017. I'm like, oh, that's why.
Before it was cool.
Exactly.
Oh, and also I think the price went up because they have a new lineup now, right? So
well, they did a whole rebranding, right? Like this wasn't always the Viking Honor or whatever you want to call it, like the Viking line, for lack of a better word. Now the bottles have that, inlaid Viking symbols, things like that, and they're gorgeous bottles. Like next to the Hibiki bottles, I might use this as like a decanter because they're actually kind of cool. But is that $20 worth the whiskey in terms of like if you could get this at $30 still, it's a steal.
Yeah.
But at $50 for essentially like a $20 marketing upgrade, is that worth it? Again, it's tough to gauge because we never had it at $30. I mean, pretty damn close, but we never had the original release at $30, things like that. So it's hard to say, oh, you know, this is garbage in comparison to that, or oh, this is really good in comparison to that, right? We don't have that marker for us. All we can do is go off of what we're drinking today. You know, did you put water on it yet?
I did not.
Okay, so.
Oh wait, no, I did.
What are you getting off of it?
Actually, I was like, wait a second, this is a different flavor.
I didn't put water on it. Wait, hold on. This is the fourth shoot.
I was like, this tastes different than before. So to be honest, it actually, I prefer it with water. The flavors are still there at the forefront, but the finish, there's almost like no peat to it.
Weird. I get all peat on the finish.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Again, this is why we do this kind of a thing. It's fun to see what we're going to get. I will say, though, with the water, interestingly enough, I get almost like a black tea on the palate.
Black tea, I can see that.
But then it transitions into that earthy peat, and so it's not ash at this point, though, on the finish. It's almost... I'm going to make a really pointed comparison here. It's for anybody who barbecues out there, which I do. This is like when you have bad smoke. What I mean by that is like you're just, you know, you put the wood on and you have just nothing but white smoke coming out of the smoker. And that's not the smoke that you want for your meat because it's like it's going to kind of get a little bit acrid and taste burnt, right? You want that thin blue smoke where essentially your meat's absorbing all that smoke and getting that nice wood smoke flavor. This is kind of the opposite. You're getting like the white smoke where it's just kind of like acrid and kind of turned bad. But again, that's just on the finish. So for me, I wouldn't add water to it. I would drink this neat all day. Man, I got to try to be objective because I know that you guys are probably paying $50, whereas I got it for $35. 3. I'm going to give it a solid 3. I think this is great, middle of the road. $50 is a little bit of a high price point, especially when I could get something like the Balvenie Toasted American Oak for only like $15 more. And I really dug that one. It's much more my flavor profile. That said, I would say, you know, the person I was drinking this with, I should say.
I was drinking the person.
He's not a smoky whiskey drinker, and so the finish for him was very offensive. So again, this is mild for anybody who's, you know, kind of intermediate to advanced level of drinking whiskey, particularly Scotch. This is not going to blow you up, but if you're a new whiskey drinker, if you're a new Scotch drinker, this peat may be harmful for you, at least at first. But it's something you could definitely grow into. It's definitely something that you can appreciate. I'm excited to see what this does as it goes down the bottle, for sure. So it's a 3 from me. Where are you going?
So for me, Highland Park, you had me at the 18. You're so deep in my roots, I can feel it on my spleen. Whiskey is so rich, flavorful, and clean. I wish I never had to leave this beautiful scene. So with that being said, it's above average. I'm going to give it a 3.5. A 3.5 out of 5. It's above average, so it's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, I can't argue with that. Again, this is why tastes are subjective. This is why we go with the way we go. But do us a favor, guys. Hit us up in the comments. Have you had Highland Park 12? Have you had a different Highland Park? Chances are you have, because there's a lot of them. But do us a favor and let us know your thoughts. Also, don't forget to hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We love interacting with you guys there. But we got nothing more to add today, so all we got to say is stay safe and drink well. All aboard. Catch you next time. Hey everybody, hope you liked that video.
Don't forget to hit that bell for notifications.
And don't forget to subscribe.